You ever want to just lose a kid in the mall, but your conscience just won't let you do it? Sweet Tooth. Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Tyra here with another struggle review, here to discuss Sweet Tooth. Now this series is available on Netflix. It stars Christian Convery and is being brought to us by Warner Brothers. And it's based on a comic book. Now before we get into why Sweet Tooth was really lovable and really fun to watch, but also got on my damn nerves, I need you guys to drop down and subscribe to my channel and like this video. I'm going to give you guys a moment to do that, and then we're going to come back and discuss all things. Sit your ass down. Sit down. Sit down. Hopefully subscribe to see more of me. Let's get into the show. Now before we jump into those episodes, let me discuss a few things that I really liked about the show. I really liked the fact that this was very family friendly, and I could watch it with not only my daughter but my son. I love when we get to do that. You know, you don't got to look over your shoulder to make sure ain't nothing happening. Like, hey, very nice. I also liked how well developed each character was. We eventually get backstory on every single one of these characters. Nobody seemed underdeveloped here. And I really love the look of the show. It's really vibrant, really amazing to look at, like all the effects, and when we get into, you know, the hybrid children and the little simple things being used on them, it was really effective. I really enjoyed the look of the show. Now, getting into the story, it is 8 episodes and it is based on a comic book. So I think us starting off with a lot of narration throughout each episode, it really gave the show a whimsical, kid-friendly, Dr. Seuss, Lorex, Cat in the Hat X feel. And it added to, you know, the whimsical feel of the show. Now, I also like that even though this show is really kid-friendly, we still have a lot there and a lot of substance there for, you know, adults and people with interests alike. We don't steer away from harsh topics like death, their sickness, virus, plague, apocalypse, the great crumble surrounding the series immediately. We immediately get into, you know, fevers, quarantine, pinky shaking. We don't know what the fuck's going on. A whole virus is attacking. Fevers, quarantine, sound familiar? Yeah, it was a lot of that going on. It was so much action right in the beginning of the series. I really like that. And we get to follow this doctor who's, you know, kind of feeling helpless that these things are happening so fast. And we just see everything just like mass hysteria happening out of nowhere. And he feels like he can't help. But we get into his wife coming down with this sickness, and we don't really hear from him, but we know that he's very, you know, strong about taking care of his wife, and we're going to get to him. Now, it's at that point that we also get into these hybrid babies, and that not only along with sickness, all this sickness and death happening, but we have, you know, new suspecting mothers and parents like going crazy because out of nowhere people are having these hybrid babies that could be a mix between any animal and a human. So nobody knew what they were having. And with all of this happening, we are introduced to Gus. Now, we get into Gus and his dad, Pooba, played by Will Forte. Now, they have went into the forest and created this whole like utopia place out of nothing, out of sticks and leaves. I was so interested in waiting to see who Pooba, Will Forte's character, really was. So I was like, he must be some massive man, honey, because he came out here and made something out of nothing with this little cabin. He's got to be a scientist or something. No. But we get into them being in hiding because we've had all these hybrid children, and we get the Last Man group who want to, you know, kind of bring back humanity with the last of who's left who haven't died from the virus, and also kill off all the hybrid children. Now, we spend, you know, year after year getting to know Gus, getting to know his dad, and you really build a strong bond with them and you fall in love with their relationship and him teaching him certain things. but you really see the drawback when he isn't being, you know, realistic with his son about the outside elements and what's really going on, and really preparing him for if something actually happened, and for if, you know, a last man came up on them. You know, he knows absolutely nothing but this space, but this cabinet, and his dad hasn't known or met anyone, a single soul, in 10 years of his life. So you're just sitting there kind of waiting for the shoe to drop. I'm like, yeah, when he gonna get into the real world? Because So now you see from very early on that the dad has tried to instill so much in Puma as far as boundaries and rules. And this is why I do the things that we do. We do these things to protect you. If you see a man, go low. If you see a stranger, don't speak to him. If you see this, go here, go hiding. Don't go outside these boundaries. Don't go past this gate. And you see immediately that Sweet Tooth has this Curious George syndrome, where whatever someone tells him to do, it's like he's going out of his way to do the damn opposite. Getting into that, we get that so early on in the series. So when we get it multiple times later on in the series, it does become a little draining, because it's just like, damn, because you see, you know, people telling him this, that, and the other, and it's like, he's not going to listen. He's not going to stay. He's not like, I really wish we could have, I haven't read the comic. I don't know anything about the comic. I don't know if that's just if he's just like a Curious George-esque characters, and it's the Sweet Tooth adventures of him, you know, discovering and fucking up shit. But here, it kind of took away from the story for me, because I was just like a frustrated mess. I was like, damn, listen, Gus. But of course, we have, you know, him being a curious kid. We do understand that he is a kid at this point, and he hasn't left this point. He's never been beyond this forest, and has never met a single other person other than his dad. But once he goes out of, you know, a certain boundary, and his dad comes to get him, they encounter a last man. Well, for what we know to be a last man, who, you know, these are huntsmen. They're trying to find any means necessary, find a hybrid to capture and kill them or sell them at this point. And you see him telling and instructing him, you know, stay here, don't move, I'm going to do this, blah, blah, blah. And of course, he does not listen, and kind of gives away that he isn't there by himself, at which we get into this brawl with this last man. And you see Pumbaa come back, the only person that he's known for his entire life, and he dies. Yeah, you should have stayed your ass. Well, I told you to stay your ass. But after that, you see Pumbaa spend some time just trying to figure out stuff for himself, and, you know, succumbing to boredom and being alone and being without his dad. You got to remember that this is a 10-year-old kid. At which he, you know, causes a fire that kind of exposes him to the last man. And that's when we encounter Big Man, you know, who comes up to save him. And we go on those adventures. And you get into already Sweet Tooth Gus being an unlikable character, because you see right away this Big Man is a loner. He doesn't want, you know, I'm not interested. I just saved your life just because that's how I was feeling at the moment. Don't be trying to tag along with me. But you're feeling those senses for that Big Man. But it's fun because you want Gus to go with him, because you know realistically he can't survive in this space by himself. And he wants to leave because all his life he's only had a picture of his mother. And, you know, his dad has talked about her and said, you know, how amazing she was and how beautiful he is and she is. And he's going off of that and feels like he can leave and go to Colorado and find his other mom. Now, that whole, you know, go find my mom and her still being alive with everything that's going on in the world, I was like, all right, now, Gus. I don't know. It was just a little unrealistic to me for a 10-year-old to feel like, yeah, my mom all the way, you know, with everything that's happened all the way on the other side of the world, yeah, she could be alive. No. But you see him and Big Man, you know, strike on these adventures. And then that's when we get into a bunch of different stories about to connect, and everybody in their own little piece of this world with these this virus and this outbreak happening, and all these hybrids, they're all about to connect in some way. And you're just pretty much waiting for that to happen. So now that we have, you know, Gus and Big Man, Sweet Tooth, on this adventure, after we leave Sweet Tooth, I was curious about that, his whole kind of attachment that he had, because Sweet Tooth is part deer, and we have, you know, this deer who's kind of watching him and there, and it's like they have this, you know, this bond throughout the movie. And I was just wondering, I was like, do all animals have that with all the other hybrid children, or was, Sweet Tooth just a special case? Because I was kind of waiting this show for like other animals to come out the woodwork and protect other hybrids, but I guess that wasn't that. But it's at this point that we get into Sweet Tooth being really, really privileged to just attach himself to Big Man, and you see that he's kind of ruining everything for him. You see him try to shake him so many times, try to get rid of him, and it's just like he's always there, because he's told him, like, you didn't ask. Well, you asked, and I told you no, but yeah, you're gonna take me to see my mom. I can't get to my mom without assistance. You're gonna take me there because I'm Sweet Tooth. Boy, if you don't get your but he attaches himself to him, and it was just, like so unwarranted. Like, you're here, you're attaching yourself, you're innocent and you're cute, but you're endangering my life. You're eating up all my food. You're messing up my medication. Like, this is the whole apocalypse. This is the survival of it all. Like, it's one thing, to be a deer in the headlights, but you know better. Sit your ass down. It's at this point that we come up on a family that Big Man finally feels like, I can really shake him here and leave him here with his family. They're here, they're tucked away, they have a son, they have compassion for him, even though he's a hybrid. He can stay here. But once the family is, attacked, and he realizes, well, not only them, but they all realize that, as long as he's here, he's putting my entire family in danger. He can't stay here. At which we still have them continue on, and Big Man finally agree to take him to Colorado to see his mom. Now it's at this point that we are introduced and really get to spend a lot of time with the other characters in our story. We get Dania Ramirez. She is here. She's quiet. She's finding her space once the apocalypse happened. And she, finds solace in this zoo, start growing plant life, at which a hybrid baby girl / pig is left on her porch, and we see them grow and develop and have this great mother-daughter relationship. And we also have our villain-esque character here. He was pretty good here. I enjoyed him for what it was. It wasn't, some exceptional villain that, I'm going to remember all the time. It was kind of a mix between Mr. Robotnik, from the Sonic series, and Van Pelt from Jumanji. It was like a mix between those two. And, he's really fun to watch, and you see how adamant he is about his last man group, and, we're trying to restore order, blah, blah, blah. Meantime, you're just trying to capture hybrid babies and kill them and, like, have some royal domination shit going on. And then we also get into the doctor and his wife. We do find them, and we do spend a lot of time with this character also. He's just as main character as Sweet Tooth, Gus, and Big Man is. Once we start to spend more time with him, we realize that, even though 10 years have passed, his wife has been one of the ones who did contract the virus, but she is still alive, well, healthy, and kicking. At which we find out that she's been taking, this secret elixir-ass shot, courtesy of this doctor that he picks up to, to subside, not completely get rid of, but it subsides the virus. And she takes it months at a time, and, it's giving her longevity this far. Now, once we get into their relationship, like, their little relationship was pissing me off too. Now, I was all for him, going above and beyond, and no matter what, I need my wife to live. I'm going to do what I need to do for my wife. Like, but when we get into this, forced utopia cul-de-sac living that they've created with people who have survived and they didn't have the virus, but if it's one hint that you do have the virus, and they have this little test, if it turns purple or these purple flowers bloom, you are wrapped up, burned alive immediately, like no questions asked. You burned alive, house burned down, all belongings, and they sing Kumbaya in front of your house. Like, they were not playing any games. So when we have this, this going on, and we have, this wife who keeps kind of going out into the public, like, they're getting low on the medication. And at some point in the story, we do realize that the doctor who has been making it, she has kept it a secret that she's really using killed hybrid children to make this potion to keep her alive, or other people who may be taking the drug. And at which she passes this on to the doctor, and she fakes having cancer. I was like, damn. She's like, I don't want to do this no more, any means necessary. And he just really can't see himself bringing himself to do that. And he wants to figure out another way to, you know, we could do something else besides kill these children. He still sees them as children at this point. But we have the wife who, you know, has, you know, a couple of tendencies here and there. The main tendency of you having this virus is your pinky doing a whole bunch of this here. And she has this going on, but she insists on going to this fucking dinner party. That made me so upset because you see, like, her husband is a very, you know, nervous, like she was kind of very much so in charge of the marriage, like, But the husband is very so, you know, very shaken and scared for her, and like, I don't want to draw any attention, let's just stay home. But she wanted so bad to go to this party. Not only do we, you know, see the man that we've been following at the party, his home who opened the door has the virus, at which we have to burn him alive and sing Kumbaya, my Lord, in front of his house. We are introduced to the nosiest, unlikable, was giving me the mother from Harry Potter vibes. You remember, I can't remember his cousin's name, but his mom, she was giving me that. It was horrible. Like, we are introduced to her who is like unshaken, like, I know something is going on, y'all, being, you know, very weird, using cold words and shit. Something's going on, and you see that she's going to eat away at it until she finally gets some evidence or have them admit that it's like playing no games. If you come in contact with someone with this virus, there's a chance that I could get it and die. We're just gonna kill you off. I feel like you got it. We need to kill you off. Like, she was seriously getting on my nerves. But once we really get into him just really figuring out, okay, yeah, you know, we have these flowers popping up, and his wife is, you know, well off into her sickness, and he hasn't really figured out how to make this whatever without a hybrid, or, you know, even had the guts to kill a hybrid. And you see him steady trying to kind of deter away and lay low, make excuses for where she is and why she hasn't, you know, been out in the open. At which we have him going, you know, just like, you know what, I really give up. I'm going to try to get a hybrid. Flare, send a hybrid. Let's go. She fucking lets the nosy bitch in the house. I was like, what? What? Why would you do that? That really pissed me off. At which this lady gets, you know, kicked by the horse when she's like had it like, no, I know something's going on. I'm going to report to the neighborhood watch. This horse knocks her the fuck out, at which she's hurt but not dead, and they pretty much leave her to die because the wife says so. That's why I draw the line in this marriage. Now, it's at this point that I feel like the first half of the series was better than, you know, the ending of the series, because we get into some questionable decisions being made by every single character that just like, what? But we have Dania Ramirez character, and you see that she's built, you know, such a big relationship with her now daughter, who's, you know, kind of just as old as Sweet Tooth. And you have, you know, all of this, you know, greatness going on. They've kind of broadcasted that they're accepting hybrid babies, and you see them have this collection of hybrid children, at which we have, you know, them found, and we have the Dr. Robotnik roll up and just kind of, you know, come for them and try to get those children. They have the dumbest plan ever to get those children out and have her blow them up and follow. And I'm like, this is the best y'all could do. And then we have, you know, Sweet Tooth and his thing going on. Why it was, you know, really fun to see him force that relationship with Big Man, and them kind of get caught and have us get caught, you know, trying to go to Colorado and get on this train. And we are introduced to another character, a young lady who's, you know, kind of built her own team that helps hybrids, and they're, you know, in disguise, and they're in this amusement park. Very, you know, imagination. Like, damn, y'all really doing all, y'all really taking out Last Man. Yeah, that was all fun in there. And then we have, you know, the standoff when they are trying to kill Big Man, and she just opts to, you know, leave everything she knows, like, I'm not with this anymore, you're not following the rules, that whole thing. And her kind of trying to turn Sweet Tooth against him, and her just, you know, being a bratty kid. Like, it was nice. Their whole, you know, three dynamic, it was cute. I love, you know, the scenes on the train with the ex-football player. I was like, that's convenient. But once we got into, you know, things like him just not listening, and the whole bridge situation, and him going on, and if you guys are gonna argue, I'm just gonna walk off, and falling into that toxic ass field, I was just like, oh, you trying to get left, that's what you saying. And then we have, the married couple that we're following and them about to be put to death because, she just had to let someone in her house, at which she's put in the freezer, at which they are found out, at which they're about to get burned to death. And the Robotnik people, last man, show up and they lie to him and tell him, they have this fancy cure courtesy of her and that she's the Jane Doe. And he doesn't really have that. It was just something to give them, a little bit more time together. And at which that ending, when he is forced to either do this, or it was just everything was put on his shoulders courtesy of his wife, and he was upset, but it's he had this whole mentality that pretty much she was the only person that mattered this whole time. So when he's put in the situation to where he's just so, just out of it, and if I don't do something, they're gonna kill us. And he's just so been anti-hybrid. And I guess you were supposed to feel, some type of way that he spared Sweet Tooth. That was a great scene. That was an intense scene when he's, he said, don't talk. No weird deer shit. I'm not going to talk. And he's sitting in that cage you about to die. Weird deer shit right now. You're talking weird deer shit. Talk, boy, talk. And he finally talks and he's yeah, send that one back. Yeah, bring me another one. Yeah. The doctor can suck an egg. But when we have also when Sweet Tooth really realizes who his mother was, and he's kind of been an experiment this whole time. This is when we get the real backstory on Gus's dad and his mom and their whole meeting. Damn, the first date, you ain't even getting none, bro. It was just so, left field. I mean, that was cute and everything, but it was boy, you did a whole lot for somebody you didn't know. But you have, all of that going on and that kind of lingering, but it kind of messes up when Sweet Tooth gets so upset and he just pretty much gets lost, leaving Big Man to go and look for him, at which he's oh yeah, I fixed the radio, I called him, and he's captured, and Big Man is shot right after they have that strong bonding moment. I love each moment that we got backstory on each character, especially Big Man, because we really wanted to know why he was the way he was, and we did know he had a child prior. So to see that and that whole thing with him going back, that was a really touching moment. But that, I'm damn, you just got me shot and get ugh. But you have, Miss Thing, after all her fireworks, I was girl, you ain't got no bombs. We trying to take motherfuckers out. You got fireworks. You let them babies walk off for fireworks. Okay. But, we have that and that whole distraction, and that, we're going to have to get our babies back. And you also have a moment with the mom actually being alive and her calling. And the best thing I liked about that ending was that joint hug when Sweet Tooth finally saw some hybrid children that were just like him, and they have that strong embrace. That was the best thing that ending had to offer to me. And I'm also, really interested to see if they save the children. I really did like the beginning part of the series more so than the ending part. It just kind of all fell apart for me for, really dumb decision making on, certain characters' part. Her letting that woman in that house just pissed me all the way off. Sweet Tooth falling into those pissed me all the way off. Him, going and, it was too many instances of him getting lost. I think that's why the story fell apart for me. And I don't know if that's just, a part of the comic. Him just, randomly going against, it was too many. Where's Sweet Tooth? Where'd he go? What are you getting lost, boy? It's whole Armageddon right now. Stay where I put you. Them at the train station. It's really speaks to the character, because you sitting there he ain't gonna stay there. What you telling him? Don't move. Stay here. He ain't staying no damn where. He don't listen to nobody. So it did kind of wear on me with the Sweet Tooth Big Man relationship, with him just not listening and constantly putting everyone's life around him in jeopardy. But yeah, that wife and doctor, that whole situation, yeah. But I'm really interested to see season 2. I did really have a good time with this show. I hope I did cover everything. I have been meaning to do this review for a while, but I just, time just didn't permit, and I do feel like I'm forgetting and leaving some things out. But that's what I got y'all for. Comment below and tell me what I forgot. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.